The nature of work has changed in the post-COVID world, and non-competes are by definition a restrictive covenant. And therefore, the question becomes, and what's being discussed is what, if any, scenario should they be permitted? And I think that this conversation and each of our related conversations have been part of that larger theme that we've seen in recent years. And that is a labor rights movement that's gaining momentum, unquestionably. Right. A movement to address the historical unfair power dynamics between employers and workers, focusing on, I think you used the term relics. That's a great term. And we see that on a state level with more and more states enacting some type of pay transparency law, which we spoke about. We've seen it on the state and federal level. If we were to discuss the efforts to classify more workers as employees rather than independent contractors, and we're going to talk about the push to eliminate non-competes. We've already seen that on the state level, but in the last few years, we've seen a federal effort on behalf of the U.S. Congress, the Federal Trade Commission, and even the White House itself to do this.
Right. And I can see why, like when you make it, it's a certain snapshot in terms of what it might do to give a business a leg up. I can see maybe from that perspective of businesses, why have these non-compete agreements, these clauses maybe brought in to protect the business to a certain extent. If you're in a select industry, like a recipe, some sort of competitive advantage, you want to be sure you protect that, especially if workers, they're fluid. That's that ultimate X factor. So in select industries, maybe a non-compete can be necessary, or you can see where the justification is coming from if you're interacting with confidential materials. But the ire of these relics, right, is that they became more and more widespread in industries. That why have them? What's the justification for them? Many businesses have them as like maybe a stopgap. It's like something boilerplate. Well, we're all kind of doing this. We all have non-competes. Our competitors have it, so maybe we should have it too. So it's like it's a mindset that it's also could be a relic. Why have them? Others have them. And it's like establishing that clear need of continuing to have them. And now it's like that conversation is only going to become more top shelf as more companies, if they're looking to bring them in or keep them, they have to explain why and have that justification of what is it they do and why do you need to continue to have them.
Yeah. It's certainly a barrier, as you said, a specific barrier to worker mobility. And one of the biggest problems with non-competes is that most workers are unaware of them. Right. And even if they are, there isn't very much they can do about them. Plus, they cover not just the corporate executives and kind of the original reason, as you mentioned, why they were formed, corporate executives, high-income professionals, for example, but they cover a lot of low-wage and limited skill workers, which, again, significantly restricts their ability to find more lucrative employment. The Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, estimates that about 1 in 5 workers, approximately 30 million workers, are currently bound by non-competes and are thus restricted. They have that barrier from pursuing better employment opportunities. And as mentioned, although those 30 million people work across different industries and job levels, a significant number of them are low-wage workers with limited skills, your hairstylists, your warehouse workers, security guards, or fast food workers. And in those and many other cases, employers use their outsized bargaining power to almost coerce workers into signing these contracts, and then they are bound by those barriers.